What's up, folks? How we doing? Thanks for checking out the video. In this one, I'm going to show you two of my favorite locations to fish Lake Lanier in a kayak for striped bass and spotted bass. So this is what we're looking at here, Lake Lanier. This is what's referred to as south part of the lake. Browns Bridge is right here. Everything above Browns Bridge is referred to as the north part of the lake. Then, of course, we have the west side and the east side. So these are my two favorite locations for kayak fishing, especially when it comes to fishing for striped bass. We'll go ahead and do 6 Mile Creek Park first. Alright, one reason I really like 6 Mile Creek Park is its convenience to Highway 400. 400 is right here. It's a main artery out of Atlanta. I live in Roswell, so I can shoot up through here. On my way to 6 Mile Creek Ramp is Hammond's Fishing Center. Hammond's Fishing Center is awesome. They've got all the live baits you want, all the fishing rods, reels. It's a fishing superstore specifically for Lake Lanier. That is right here on the way to 6 Mile. So that's one reason that 6 Mile is one of my favorite spots, is because on the way to there I can stop and pick up bait or whatever supplies that I need on the way over here to the ramp. 6 Mile is a great spot. It's right by the bridge. One reason that makes it really awesome fishing is I have already loaded these locations up, but I'll show you here in just a second. There are man-made fish attractors on both sides of the bridge here. This is awesome for fishing. These fish attractors are going to be holding bass. They can be holding striper, bait, crappie, all sorts of fish. Another aspect of this location that I really like is the bottleneck here. It's a double-edged sword with bottlenecks on Lake Lanier. For one, striper migrating fish that move all over the lake, they love bottlenecks, especially in certain times of year where other fish are migrating too, because they'll stack up around this bottleneck, just like the same reason trout will hang out behind a strainer. Striper and bass will school up right behind a bottleneck and pick up the easy meals as it flows in and out of that location. But there are also 4 fish attractors at the corner of the bridge as well too, making this an ideal fishing location for several species of fish, not just striper. So we're going to scroll back out. Now the double-edged sword with bottlenecks here on Lanier is Lake Lanier is one of the, if not the busiest lakes on in the state of Georgia as far as boat traffic goes. Bottlenecks are also very dangerous for us kayakers because you could be just around the edge of a blind corner, light or fog or those sorts of elements can play a factor in somebody seeing you or not. So always be very, very cautious around bottlenecks in the lake. Some of those areas are the most trafficked and therefore the most dangerous locations on the lake. So be real careful, wear that life jacket as well too. There's Charleston Park, which is right over here. You can almost launch from one or the other. And there's fish attractors on the shoreline here on Charleston Park. This is going to be more or less crappie and bass. You may not find a whole lot of striper hanging up on these particular fish attractors. So once you're in the water here, there's a lot of places to fish. Of course, the bridge is one. The fish attractors is always a place you want to take a look at. But on Lake Lanier, it can often be deep water fishing, especially this time of year when it's February, March. It's cold still. The lake is still turning over. When you're striper fishing or even bass fishing, you want to go deep. And on Lake Lanier, deep means 40 feet, 45 feet. So the main channel runs right through the middle of the lake here. As you can see, 2 bottlenecks right here. And as you come out, there's a few more little bottlenecks. You'll get clouds of bait, and you'll get schools of striper hanging out in this area, this area, this area, pretty much every step in the way on these creeks. especially early in the year from February, March, and April that occurs. So keep an eye on that. When you're fishing these locations, you can get back and fish the back of the creeks. You're more likely to catch spotted bass or maybe even a largemouth. But when you get out into this deeper water right here and some of the mouths of these deep water channels and you drop down 30 or 40 feet, you've got a good opportunity of catching a very big striper. On Lanier, the biggest striper I've seen is 41 pounds. So, you know, that's plenty of tug for a guy in a kayak, for sure. 6 Mile and Charleston Creek Park, again, awesome place to go fishing, perfect layout for us kayak anglers. So that is my West Coast recommendation for kayak fishing on Lake Lanier. Let's go check out the East Coast. Alright, one of my favorites here on the East Coast is Ballast Creek Park. As you can see, plenty of parking, several ramps here to come in and out on. That 41-pound striper that I had mentioned to you just a minute ago was caught right here, right smack dab in the middle of Ballast Creek. So this is a great location for bass, for striper, for crappie. Certain times a year, though, the striper come in here chasing those clouds of bait, and it is just bonkers the types of fish you can catch in this lake. So again, you have bottleneck. Again, you have bottleneck, bottleneck, bottleneck. So much, you know, kind of a bottleneck. We don't fish this part too much. Usually it's that gap, that gap, that gap. There is a underwater finger that kind of comes out and around right here. So it's deeper, gets real shallow, and then gets deep again. And then, of course, the main channel comes right through there. I've caught striper. I don't know. I'll tag the video in this video in the cards. But one of the striper that I've caught from a sit-inside kayak came right off of the edge of that bottleneck right there. So that'll be tagged in the cards if you want to check that out. Also, there are locations right out here that a lot of people on Lanier know as the humps. There are 3 basically underwater hills, right, that jut up from the deep, and they get up into like 30 feet. But there's 3 of them right in here. They call them the humps. Certain times a year you'll catch a lot of striper in this area, and they'll be staging while the bait balls are coming out of these creeks. These striper will be staging right in here. So another great aspect of fishing or putting in at Ballast Creek is just down the road here. Let's see if we can find it. There it is. Just down the road here is another spot you can hit for bait and ice and gear, that sort of thing. So Oakwood Bait and Tackle is a good source for that. They're a real close drive to Ballast Creek. This is usually where we go before we launch to get fresh herring, trout, gizzard shad, that sort of thing. And this is Oakwood Bait and Tackle. They do boat sales and stuff as well too, and I'm pretty sure you can book some striper trips out of either Oakwood or Hammond's. I think they both will help you out there. So thanks for checking out the video. Those are 2 of my favorite fishing spots or launches on south part of Lake Lanier. If you have any questions or comments, let me know. These little blue flags here, these are fish attractors. I've got a GPX file that has all that information in it. If you would like that information, I'll list it on my website, HydraYak.com. Give me a week or 2 to get that up, but I need to get my GPX files, and I've got some offshore saltwater fishing locations and stuff like that too. So that's free. Just go there, download it, and upload it to your Garmin or your Lowrance or your Google Earth, whatever you want to do. So thanks for checking out the video. If you guys have any questions or comments, let me know. Please like and subscribe. Y'all take care.